Hannah Marie Zaccaglini was born on the 11th of October 1981 and in 1997 was a 15-year-old student at McLeod High School in McLeod, Siskiyou County, California. Hannah was extremely skilled in martial arts and even played bass guitar in her high school rock band. She was also a cheerleader and had aspirations to be a model. Hannah's parents divorced shortly before she disappeared, and in April of 1986 left the old family home in Moore Park, California, to live with her mother Jennifer in McLeod. On the night of June 4th, 1997, Hannah spent the evening with her boyfriend at his family apartment in McLeod. The night took a bit of a sour turn, however, when Hannah's boyfriend suddenly ended their relationship, citing the reason being he was moving away to Nevada with his mother. Following the breakup, an understandably upset Hannah left her boyfriend's apartment at approximately 10 p.m, with a handful of pictures of herself that she had given to her boyfriend in her possession. According to several sources, Hannah then visited an adult couple living along the same street before making her way back to her mother's home, situated on Minnesota Avenue. However, somewhere between her boyfriend's apartment and her mother's home, only a block's distance, she vanished. After failing to return home, Hannah's mother contacted the authorities and filed a missing persons report. Initially due to the teen's recent breakup and her parents' difficult divorce, police believed that Zaccaglini was a runaway. However, they suspected other factors were involved in the teen's disappearance, as she vanished so close to home. Hannah's mother was quite angry by the fact that authorities didn't initially take her daughter's disappearance seriously. Valuable time was lost in the search for her daughter. For Hannah to leave home and not return was extremely uncharacteristic of her, especially considering she had no known issues at the time with any of her family or her friends. She left most of her belongings at home, including her clothes, her purse, money, and her beloved bass guitar, which was once again very out of the ordinary. Following a number of inquiries, police were able to determine that the final sighting of Hannah was by a couple who lived on the 3000 block of East Minnesota Avenue, a man named Edward Henline Sr. and his wife Debbie. Interestingly enough, however, the couple had also been the last people to witness another missing person just months prior. Police then made a startling connection between Hannah's case and the other young woman who was last seen at the Henline residence. 27-year-old Karin Elizabeth Mero, who disappeared in February 1997, 4 months before Hannah Zaccaglini, was in a relationship with Ed and Debbie's son, Ed Henline Jr., and lived at their family residence on East Minnesota Avenue. However, Mero wasn't reported missing until October, when 8 months had passed. Her family weren't initially concerned about Karin's whereabouts, as they assumed that she had left of her own volition due to a warrant being out for her arrest in relation to drug charges. Karin and Ed Jr. had several disagreements before she disappeared, and the 27-year-old was known not to get along very well with Ed Sr. She was last seen on the front porch of the home, and she was never seen again. From the get-go of investigating Hannah's disappearance, which was reported before Karin's, police were suspicious of the Henlines. All three were questioned by the authorities on a number of occasions and were noted as being uncooperative in regards to both Hannah and Karin's disappearances. Their house was subsequently searched 4 times with the help of the FBI and cadaver dogs. However, nothing of significance was found, either within the house or in the yard. The McLeod Reservoir was also searched by specialist diving teams, but again, their efforts yielded disheartening results. Something which did bring up red flags for police was the fact that, according to the Zaccaglini family, Ed and Debbie borrowed the van belonging to Hannah's mother, Jennifer, a day or two after her 15-year-old daughter went missing. The Henlines were running errands and returned the van to Jennifer in, quote, pristine condition as a way to thank her for letting them borrow it. This in itself was a huge red flag, as it was a well-known fact that the Henlines weren't the cleanliest of people. Ed Sr. had even reportedly burned a houseboat dry-docked in his backyard days later, which in itself was a very strange thing to do, but no significant evidence was found by the FBI on the property. In 1998, a small break actually came in regards to Karin's case, as it turned out that the Henlines had been cashing in her monthly disability payments of $700 after she disappeared, and they were subsequently arrested for welfare fraud. They had to pay a total fine of $2,000 and were given 3 years of probation, although they were charged with drug-related offences a year later in 1999. Hannah's case went cold until some new evidence and witness testimonies came to light 14 years later in 2012, and her case was reopened. Authorities arrested Ed Henline Sr. on the 15th of November and charged him with Hannah Zaccaglini's murder a month later, and a mere 2 days after his father, Ed Jr., was also charged with conspiracy and accessory to murder. Unfortunately, by May of 2013, authorities had dropped the charges against the father and son due to insufficient evidence, including the fact that Hannah's body hadn't been recovered. The Zaccaglini family were understandably extremely distraught by this news. They thought that justice had finally prevailed for Hannah, but their hopes were dashed. The Zaccaglini family also kept Karin's family firmly in their thoughts. They hope that someday answers will come for Hannah and for Karin, and that their never-ending torment of not knowing what happened to their girls can finally be over. Despite authorities' best efforts to try and locate the girls over the years, neither Hannah or Karin have ever been found. Both cases do remain open and investigations are ongoing. Siskiyou County Police firmly believe that the answers to this case lie within the small town of McLeod, and are urging anyone with even the smallest piece of information to come forward. At the time of her disappearance, Hannah Zaccaglini was 15 years old. She is described as being of Caucasian descent, standing at 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing approximately 120 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes, however at the time she vanished, her hair was dyed black. She also carried a small birthmark behind her right ear near to the hairline, and also carries a small scar caused by chickenpox near to her eye. Also of note, both Hannah's earlobes are pierced and her upper left front tooth is slightly chipped. On the day she disappeared, Hannah was wearing a lime green and white checked shirt or vest top with daisy-shaped buttons down the front and a tie at the waist, a pair of blue jeans, a pair of black Vans with the letter V stamped in white on both sides, and a silver ring, although the exact design of this ring is unclear. Hannah may also have had a grey sweater in her possession when she went missing. Karin Mero was 27 years old, Caucasian, standing at 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing approximately 170 pounds. She had brown hair and green eyes. Mero had a scar on her face near to her nose and a surgical scar on her lower abdomen from a liver transplant, which she needs regular anti-rejection drugs to survive. Her upper front row of teeth are also capped, and at the time she took other prescription medications, totaling over $2,000 just on medication every month. She is also classified as disabled. Karin was also married at the time she disappeared. However, according to newspaper reports, she and her husband were somewhat estranged. Shortly after Karin's disappearance, her husband Marcus filed for divorce, which was granted by default after Mero failed to show. If Hannah Zaccaglini is still alive today, she would be 42 years old. And if the same was for Karin Mero, she would be 54, respectively. As of 2023, Hannah and Karin remain missing, both of their cases left unsolved.